So you've decided that you need and want a second passport, and you're looking for the best opportunity to get one quickly. You may have seen some websites online promising speedy passports to come right to your door in a matter of just 2 months. Well, today I'm going to share with you the actual timelines for how long it takes to get that quick Plan B passport. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist. We're the channel and the company that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. And let's talk about second passports, because they not only are a great plan B that you can have in case times get tough, in case taxes go up, in case chaos comes to your country, it's also a great opportunity to live in another country, to legally reduce your taxes. There's lots of strategies for second passports. But what I often see misrepresented is the timelines to get these passports. Today I'm going to talk about 5 Caribbean citizenships, what's called citizenship by investment, where you're making a donation or, in fewer cases, buying some real estate, making a bond investment, bank deposits. There are numerous different programs. Today we're going to focus on the Caribbean. Generally, my advice is the donation route, not some weird real estate route where you kick money back to a real estate developer and he keeps part of it and throws it back to you as a commission and it goes all around. You don't want to do that. Straight donation, play it straight with the government, don't risk your passport. Here's what I saw online. Antigua and Barbuda, 90 days processing time. Dominica, 60 days processing time. Grenada, 60 days processing time. St. Kitts and Nevis, 60 days. St. Lucia, 90 days. Now, I've been through one of these processes successfully, and one I aborted, and one I'm in the process of starting right about now. Now, the first thing that these people don't tell you is you need to gather your documents. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to help you do that. There's forms to fill out, so we're going to make that process as easy as possible for you. And so you've heard people on this channel in the last year or so say that process could take 12 months. I think it should take, depending on where you're from, 2, 3, or 4 months. Let's call it 3 to 4 months during the COVID era, when government bodies are slower at issuing things like birth certificates. Universities may be slower at issuing transcripts. Your elementary school may be slower at issuing a transcript. So that's the first part. Now, you put together the file and you send it off. How accurate are the times in reality? Now, we have an operations department. It's our biggest department here. One thing that they're constantly doing is working on logistics. And to have great logistics, you need to know the actual data. How long are things actually taking? It's great to know the minimum processing time, so let's go through the numbers. Antigua, usually more than 90 days. This is from our team. After 90 days, they're going to at least come back to you. Okay, that's nice. How many governments around the world, they just let you sit in suspense for years while they process. After 90 days, they come back and they say there'll be delays due to the high volume of applications. Realistically, closer to 4 to 5 months. So you're going to be a month or 2 longer than expected, on top of whatever time it takes you to gather your documents, which of course depends on you as well as who you're working with. Dominica, yes, 60 days, realistic, as they are very fast. They are one of the more, I think, efficient citizenship by investment units. And it speaks to what I think citizenship by investment is really about, which is the government is saying we need to be competitive. If we want to bring capital to our country, we need to offer something. They're offering freedom. They're offering another option. They're offering an escape. They're offering travel flexibility, a place to live even. And they're saying, okay, hey, we'll give that to you. You bring money into our country, we will give you all of that in the form of citizenship. Dominica, I think, is one of the countries that really gets it. Now, I'm not saying that means it's the best citizenship for you. In fact, for larger families, it's generally, or even families of most kinds, it's generally not that competitive. But here's the challenge with Dominica, and here's something that I got asked recently. Between the process of the donation and the citizenship certificate, takes longer because of the banks. Banks in Dominica are inefficient. And so it's a case kind of like in Hong Kong, where the government of Hong Kong always wanted to encourage businesses to come in, but banks were just really resistant to opening up bank accounts for almost any of those businesses that did come in. Dominica is really aggressive about bringing in business. At one point, citizenship by investment was like 50% of their economy. But the challenge is the banks are very particular. And so let's say you're in cryptocurrency, for example, that's going to be more difficult. So that could take a little bit longer because the banks slow the process down. Where the money comes from is important. And so choosing where the money is going to come from in terms of which country the bank is in could be important. Grenada, they say 60 days. That's pretty far off. No, it takes 4 to 6 months. They are the slowest. Now, you could argue that Grenada, there was a report that came out relating to the State Department, and Grenada, as I seem to recall, got some of the highest marks to where even the U.S. government couldn't say many bad things about it. So they do have that. However, they are basically the slowest, Grenada. Okay, St. Kitts and Nevis, 60 to 90 days is realistic. They've offered the 60-day, push yourself to the front of the line. 90 days, more realistic, one of the easier ones to work with. St. Lucia, usually 4 to 5 months, so on par with Antigua. So there are other citizenship by investment programs. Turkey has a program. There's lots of little programs. One of the programs that is quoted as being the fastest is Vanuatu. It's not also as fast as is often promised, but it is faster because the forms are easier to deal with. Okay, I have some reservations about Vanuatu citizenship. I've been in Vanuatu and said that to people there. There are other programs. For example, years ago, before it was suspended, I went through the Comoros program almost for fun. And the forms were relatively straightforward. They had a more simple outsourced due diligence process with a firm that was in Dubai, and it just was a lot faster than a Caribbean process. Partially because they don't have to check as many things in terms of visa-free travel and all the requirements that comes from having a halfway decent passport. So the worse your passport is, theoretically, the faster it could be. But in terms of the Caribbean, there are some of these passports that are better than others for travel. Some of them have zero income tax for personal, zero income tax for corporate. Others have zero capital gains tax. There's many different benefits. But by and large, they're in the same league at least. And so you can see how you're going to get these passports done in less than a year when you figure out your front-end time with their processing time, all the due diligence that they run. But 60 days, it's not going to happen. And again, I think that people look at that and they say, oh, great, I'm going to have a certain amount of crypto in 60 days from now. I want to have a second passport when that happens. Or I'm going to sell my business 60 days from now. I think that the challenge that these people online don't speak to is everything has to be holistic. If you're trying to solve a tax problem, just getting a second passport is not going to solve that. But it's certainly not going to solve it if you're thinking, hey, today plus 60 days, passport in hand. No. From the time you file to the time you get an approval, that's what we're talking about. And then it comes to sending money, and then it comes to actually getting the passport in your hand. So all in all, in this era where some documents are slower, really fast would be 6 months door to door. If you can get that to 7 or 8 months, depends on the circumstances. Again, there's a few things you'll need to get on your own no matter who's helping you. You could drag it out, but certainly it shouldn't be a year. But do keep in mind that when you're looking out there, anyone can promise really fast time to get the business. I think it's important to understand what you're really in for, because I understand that second citizenships are used in a holistic context. Having a St. Lucia passport, hey, that's pretty cool. You can show your friends. It's a cocktail party trick. But what are you going to use that for? There's many things to use that for, and that's what needs to be planned for, and that's why these timelines, I think, are so important to understand in reality. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.